What is up, my friends? How are we? You are very welcome along to Monday night's late night agenda. A brand new week means brand new headaches, brand new successes, but most importantly, another opportunity to come on and chat about the football club that we all love. Hope you're all in good spirits this evening. Well, as good spirits as it can be for another day where we're closer to the end of the transfer window with no obvious sign of an incoming, but again, we're going to go through it all tonight. Now, before we kick off tonight's festivities, I just want to draw your attention to something that one of our amazing subscribers is up to. Let me just bring this up. So, as you can see, there's a charity beard shave going on for Jed and Dave for the Roughly's Bike Show. These are volunteer emergency support services, my friends. They deliver blood to hospitals. They are doing a Just Giving fundraiser that they would love your support on. We've previously donated and know the great work that these guys do. They transport blood to hospitals, making sure that people can get those life-saving blood transfusions. The link is going into the chat right now. If you'd like to go across and support the guys on their efforts, please do. And the link is gone in there right now. So thank you again for your attention for a second. I've met these gentlemen in person and I can't speak highly enough about the great work that they do. So again, happy to support any charitable causes like that. And thank you for alerting us to it. And of course, thank you to you guys for giving me the time to draw your attention to it. So the link is going into the chat right now. Sorry, I thought it was gone in. There we go. It's gone in right there now. If you would like to give, you can do so. And again, we appreciate your consideration. Right. Where are we going? Big respect to the transport services at George. Absolutely. Volunteers as well. Do this completely off their own back, on their own time. Just trying to add and positive vibe into society. Trying to just be good citizens. Trying to be good people. And they're the type of people we're always happy to support. Right, my friends. Tonight, what are we going to go with? Well, we're going to be speaking about some hypocrisies in the transfer policy that have been pointed out by Liverpool fans, and I'm going to talk about them tonight. We're going to discuss a young French left-back who's been linked with a move to Liverpool. Again, more talk about Joe Gomez potentially departing, and basically just another case of when are we going to get cracking in the transfer market, because time is a-ticking. And I'm sure you don't need to be told that we're running out. Now, here's something that you didn't need to know, but I'm going to tell you anyway. James Pearce has said that Liverpool had a new coffee bar built inside the players' entrance at the AXA training facility to encourage players to relax and socialise together. Mohamed Salah is one of the regulars. Good. Look, that's no problem. You know, players want to convene together, have a cup of coffee and a chat. More power to them. Be nice if they could convene together and have a chat about a new teammate or two that were brought into the club. But look, all these little touches, I guess, are just to make the players feel more comfortable and more at home, and I've nothing wrong with that. I do have a question, though. When they say coffee bar, do they just mean like a little station where they press the button and the cup's made for them? I'm intrigued as to what people's thought processes on a coffee bar are. But either way, you know, everyone loves a good cup of coffee in the mornings, and I'm certainly no different. How much did the transfer cost? I don't know, but somebody very quickly put up a coffee bar number 6 jersey just to, you know, show the world what it would look like if we signed a coffee bar in the holding midfield role, I guess. Now, the Jarrad Branthwaite situation I'm going to discuss tonight as well, because even the bookies seem very confused by all of this. Let me just grab this up. Let me get your first super chat of the day up, my man. There we go. Mike, thank you, mate, kicking us off for tonight with the first super chat. Very kind of you. Hello to my weekly therapy session. Well, do you know what, mate? I have one of those myself that I go to usually on Tuesdays, but welcome in, mate. Great to have you with us again. And look, I want to say a big thank you to you all last night as well. It was one of the most emotional streams outside of a footballing context I think I've ever been involved in. Appreciated your support last night as well with that. It was a touching moment for me, as you were aware, I'm sure, if you were with us last night. But again, thank you for not mocking me for it. Not that I expect you to have done so. It's just it's always lovely to know that you're a little part of somebody's daily routines. Is Hughes on holiday, said Neville and Mooley, starting to lose my cool? Do you know what? It does feel as though a lot of our fan base is starting to get a little bit annoyed Hughes and Edwards, and I can understand it, but I have to believe that they're working on something. You know, if I don't, and I could be deluded here, but I have to believe that they are working on something. If they're not, I'd be very surprised. But working on it and getting it over the line, look, that's a different conversation. And I'm starting to get a little bit angry about this bickering over €5 million, which is about £4 million. And I'm gonna give you a heads up from a very good post from Sam Maguire. And Sam basically wants us to make this make sense, and I see where Sam's coming from. He said, Liverpool want £25 million for Caoimhín Kelleher, but won't pay £34 million for Georgi Mamadashvili, even though his underlying numbers last season aren't far off Alisson Becker's campaign with Roma, when we paid £66 million. So he's saying, I'm not saying spend £66 million on Mamadashvili, but 34 seems fairly reasonable. Exactly, Sam. Well put, sir. We want £25 million for Kelleher, and I think that's fair. So if you want to bring in the replacement for Alisson Becker, why are we quibbling over £4 million or €5 million and allowing potentially Manchester United to come in and hijack the deal? Because that could happen here. Sometimes I feel like we procrastinate a little bit too much. And yes, every penny counts. And yes, the club want to save money where possible. But if it's a matter of maybe not getting the player over a few £1,000,000, well, surely we can justify spending £3 or £4 million extra with the summer we've had so far, which has only seen players leaving. Carl said, Craig, have you considered FSG are selling the club? Not really. No, I don't see any indications that would point towards a sale. And if they were selling, again, you'd want to sell from the strongest position possible. But look, I don't know, mate. Anything's possible, I guess. I can only go off their own words, which are, you know, they're in expansion mode. When's the last time they sold an asset? So yeah, I don't believe that they're looking to sell the club, but let's wait and see what happens. It still doesn't excuse no business in this window, sale or not. Paul White said, have faith in Edwards and Hughes. They will surprise us. They are no mugs. They aren't. I agree. I have nothing but admiration for Michael Edwards and the work that he's done. But I'm also a Liverpool fan who has seen Tchouaméni not come to us. Camavinga, or not, excuse me, not Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Caicedo, Lavia, and now Zubamendi. So at some point, it does start to become a little bit concerning as to why we're going for people who maybe don't have the same fondness towards coming to us. Now, you know, I said many times this summer that what happened last summer wouldn't have happened under Michael Edwards, and, well, now it has. So, you know, but I still have a lot of faith in the man. I really do. I like the cut of his jib, but I also want to see us strengthen, because there is no excuse for another window without a signing or two. Paul McGee said FSG equals feckin' stingy gits. So I can't disagree with that, mate, but their argument, I guess, would be, well, we're business people. This is what we're here to make a profit, which is no use to us. And as I've said many times, I've always been sound about the idea of them making that profit when they sell up at the end. But while you're here, while you're custodians of the club, I really feel like it's on them to make sure that they do everything possible to make the club as successful as possible. So supporters of FSG would probably argue that they're doing that. My argument is I don't believe that they are, and I'm open, like I've said many times, to being told why I'm wrong or explained. But the problem we've had is a lot of people who have this viewpoint that anybody who doesn't like the owners are madmen or lunatics seem to just tar us all with the same brush rather than open this dialogue. But look, long and short of it is, we're now just shy of 10 days or so away, 11 days maybe, and 2 hours away from this window closing. And we've done nothing. And there's only so many days you can say to yourself, keep believing, have faith, they'll get it sorted, we'll get somebody through the door. It's great until we don't, and then we've got no time to do anything about it. If we don't improve this squad, it's negligence at the highest level, said Donny LFC. And thank you, mate. Appreciate your super chat and your comment. Pig Venus said, I love your channel, it's the best around, you'll never walk alone. Thank you, mate. Again, the channel is what it is because of you guys. And want to say a special shout out as well to Simon, who you will probably know as Liverpool fan in Japan. We did that video together earlier on, and I have to say, I loved it. I absolutely loved interacting with Si. We have very opposing views on a lot of things, but we both are able to listen, take the other person's viewpoint on, and explain our stances. And I think, I don't big up a lot of the content we make. I think that was a really, really good exchange between two Liverpool fans who both love the club. And I love the way he explained his thinking. I love the way he comes across. I really, really like the guy. I think he's a brilliant content creator. So do check out. It's on podcast if you want to listen to it on audio only. And the interview, or I guess crossover episode, is up on the channel as well. Si is going to be doing more stuff with us moving forward over the course of the season as well. Regular contributor to the Anfield Agenda podcast. And I can't welcome him enough. He's an absolutely top tier content creator with a very analytical mind, very intelligent, articulate man. I can't say enough good things about him. So do make sure that you go across, drop a sub to Simon's channel. Liverpool fan in Japan. You will see the link in the description of the video we did with him. Absolutely loved chatting with him. It was brilliant. Essex Copboy, how are you, my friend? Sorry being quiet. My mum has been rushed to hospital with a bleed on the brain, and your videos help, but I need positivity more than ever. Mate, I'm so sorry about your mum. I hope everything works out well. I hope your mum makes a full recovery. I get the positivity thing, mate. Look, Liverpool Football Club, for me and many others, can be that beautiful distraction, you know, to just take your mind off life for a couple of hours. And if you find any solace or help whatsoever in here or in anything we do, mate, you're always welcome here. You know that. And thank you for your kind words, and of course our sentiments towards your mum. We wish her a full recovery and send a lot of love your way. I would say prayers, but I'm not a religious person. I'm sure others in the chat will very happily pray for your mum, but I'm not a religious person myself. But I will certainly be keeping her in our thoughts, mate. Thank you. Stevie boy, how are you, bro? Lovely to see you in as always. Stevie said, as Liverpool fans, are we not entitled to know why Trent has not been given a new contract? Mate, you're preaching to the choir. I agree with you. It is... There isn't any argument I've heard that justifies why we're in this position with Trent. Even when you've seen even Paul Joyce saying that he thinks Liverpool have taken his eye off the ball on the Trent situation, that's not very reassuring, is it? Because remember, we're the Idiot Brigade. That's what I've christened us, by the way, now. We've got the Geek Squad and we're the Idiot Brigade. So the Idiot Brigade know that the Trent situation was a problem 6 months ago, 7 months ago, and have been talking about it non-stop, saying when it's going to happen, when is it going to happen. We were always reassured that the club knew about the situation, but they've done nothing about it to be proactive. So it is very concerning. Trent made a statement in that opening game. Look at the ball he played through the half space into Mohamed Salah, who timed his run beautifully and laid the ball across to the goals, who buried it. That's what Trent can do. So the club need to get their finger out, and there will be no excuse that will wash with Liverpool fans if he isn't given a new deal. If he goes off to Real Madrid, it's going to be emotional, let's say. Eddie, always lovely to see you in as well, Eddie. My son thinks you're funny. This is the first time I've let him watch you. Well, thank you, Eddie. I will try to adhere to keep my language as clear as possible, knowing your young man's watching, but I can't promise. I won't swear. but always welcome, and welcome to your young man as well. Mahmood, Craig, I've become numb to the transfer window every day. You hope we're making moves, but we aren't concerned about this campaign. It'll be tough. I get it. I totally get where you're coming from, mate. And I can understand anybody who just tunes out of the transfer window at the minute, or those people that maybe want the transfer window to just slam shut so they can just concentrate on the football again. But I also believe that that's sometimes what the club wants. Us to just be distracted and not focus on their shortcomings. You know, we can all disagree on what we think about the owners or whatever, but I find it very hard to see how anybody can not think we need a signing or two at the very least. And only going for your number one targets is understandable to some extent if you're confident you're going to get them. But you can't keep not getting them. And this situation with Georgi MAMARDASHVILI is really starting to become an embarrassment. You know, how do you nickel and dime over £4 million for somebody that, as Sam Maguire said, we're supposed to believe the club want to be the long-term Alisson Becker replacement, an Alisson Becker who we paid almost twice as much money for way back then. So I'm truly at a loss to figure out why on earth we haven't just hurried up with this. You know, if Valencia are saying we ain't budging off €40 million, then that's the price. You pay it or you don't. He's your stepson, Eddie. He's my stepson. He's little difficulties, but he loves you. Well, thank you so much for watching, my friend. Appreciate it. And that love means a lot. It really does. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy the content, and appreciate you tuning in. And thank you, Eddie, as well. Always lovely to see you in, sir. Mamadou, thank you. Much love back to you as well, my friend. Nikhil Singh said, gotten to the point where if we sign somebody, won't be exciting for me, more like relieved. I get it, but I can't lie, mate. I'll be excited. I love a new signing. I love new shiny things. So yes, I would love a signing or two. And I don't know where I'm at with belief. I don't know if I'm deluding myself into thinking we might get one or two, but I guess you have to stay optimistic, right? If you don't stay optimistic about football, then what's the point? Craig in Tokyo would be mega. Definitely is a possibility for us to visit Tokyo, because a couple of reasons. One, well, there is a Universal Studios theme park in Japan, and I've done the American one, so heading over there would be lovely as well. Connor's been over to Japan and Tokyo already. He was over there last year visiting his sister who lives over there. So yeah, could be possible. Carl, how are you, bro? Jarrad nearly went because he didn't feel the love from the manager, and we delayed contract talks. Really hope Trent doesn't feel the same. So do I, Carl. And again, if I can only try and put myself in Trent's shoes, I would certainly be asking why I wasn't the priority for the club. You know, you can hide behind the change behind the scenes and, you know, people coming in and out for a while, but ultimately you're going to start to question, do they really want to keep me here? And I hope the answer to that is yes. Because if it isn't yes, then I really am confused. Like, Trent is already a fairly high earner at the club. So the next logical step is future captain, obviously, after Virgil leaves, probably. And by the way, I'm not trying to say Virgil leaves now. I mean, whenever that time may come. And he's the local boy. It's baffling. It is. It really is baffling. Right, I want to talk about this left back for a little bit. Because actually, do you know what? No, firstly, I'm going to talk about the Jarrad Branthwaite situation and the odds. Because Bet365 were, I think, speaking with the Echo. And this is what one of their traders had to say on why those odds for Jarrad Branthwaite to join Liverpool went as low as they did, as quick as they did. He said, it's been a busy weekend on the Jarrad Branthwaite front, culminating in a crazy few hours, with odds compilers being kept busy on Sunday night as Liverpool claimed favouritism from Everton before they wrestled back that mantle after a surge of interest in him staying on the blue side of Stanley Park as I went to bed with my head spinning. Prior to the weekend, Bet365, the betting company he represents, said they had Branthwaite at 1-6 on to still be an Everton player, meaning you had to bet £6 to win £1 in that scenario. Very, very likely he stayed. Then he said, with Manchester United at 6-1 and Liverpool were at 10-1 to sign Branthwaite. On Friday night there was a number of bets at 10-1 and then they lowered it to 8-1, and then on Saturday morning a load of more money came in. They lowered it to 7-2, and then it went to 6-4, and then eventually they lowered it all the way down to 4-5. It's now 2-1. So the odds have crept back up because I think Everton's response and everyone feeling a little bit confused by it probably adjusted the market a little bit. So there's still no indication from the footballing side that there is something happening here. I did say to you guys when we spoke about this, when odds change, it's because money's going down. That's it. It doesn't necessarily mean the bookies know something we don't. I felt like Jarrad Bowen would be a good signing. Left-footed, early dominant, young, would add balance to right-footers. Kanade Kwanzaa. Oh, you said Jarrad Branthwaite. Sorry, I read that as Jarrad Bowen in my head. Jarrad Branthwaite. It'd be a brilliant signing. Honestly, I would love Liverpool to sign Jarrad Branthwaite. Whoever gets that young man, if he stays at Everton or moves on to a bigger club, they're getting a really good defender. I've no doubts about that. Would love him. I don't think it's going to happen, but yeah, genuinely would love the guy. I think he's a really good young defender. Yeah, nothing really to add to that. Right, so, Danny, how are you, my friend? And thank you for your super chat. Said, if we did sell Sepp and Gomez, with the profit we've already brought in, then let's show a bit of ambition and go for Silva. Would be nice. Danny speaking about Antonio Silva, centre-back here, that plays for Benfica in Portugal. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. He'd be brilliant. And look, I do have to logically think that if we are even considering letting Gomez go and Sepp van den Berg, you'd have to believe that there is some consideration to moves happening. And maybe we're trying to line up a few things, and sometimes there's a domino effect. Think of it like a chain buying a house. Sometimes the chain falls apart and it's got nothing to do with your part of it. So maybe in this scenario there is a lot of moving parts, but that's still a risky strategy, isn't it? Because if it falls through, then we've got no time to do anything, to change the act. I did read the Simon Hughes piece, by the way. A lot of you guys asked me what my thoughts were on the Simon Hughes piece in The Athletic. I think it was a very, very good piece from Simon. And basically the gist of the piece was sporting directors need to be more accountable. That was the long and short of the piece. What I find interesting again, though, is the comment section of The Athletic. It is where, in my humble opinion, you see the greatest divide between sporting cultures from America and Europe in how everybody views what football clubs are supposed to do and how answerable they are to fans. A lot of the comments are, well, it's a privately owned club. The owners can do what they want. They don't have to explain anything to anybody. And on the face of it, they might well believe that that's the case. But we've seen previously, all they are custodians of football clubs. If football fans get together and decide that an owner needs to be ousted, more often than not, it'll happen. Now, to get back to Simon's piece on the sporting director, it is a model where in Germany, maybe the Netherlands, and certainly in other places, the sporting director will come out with the manager and to press conferences and interact and answer questions maybe on the business side of things that aren't coaching related. Sometimes those answers won't be very forthcoming. They'll be kind of just going around in a circle. But we were kind of, I think, led to believe that maybe we would see a bit of Richard Hughes more. To the best of my understanding, I think it's just been that one initial press conference with Arne Slot. But I agree. You know, these guys are in really powerful positions of football clubs. And people can have to say about whether they think the modern culture of sporting directors is good or a bad thing. But ultimately, it is a very modern thing. And they have a lot of power. So yes, I do agree with Simon that they should be answerable to the stakeholders, the fans. And they should be more forthcoming with at least availability to questions from the media. Whether they dodge those questions or not, I guess is another conversation. What about Robinson from Fulham? I've not seen anything new on Anthony Robinson. We were linked with him towards, I think it was either the end of last season or the January window, but I've not seen anything new to suggest that Liverpool are looking at him. But I do have something on a left back today that I wanted to bring to your attention, because I don't know much about this guy. So again, I'm happy to give the Echo their credit when they do something well. So this is from the Echo. See Echo? See how easy that is? So it's about Adrian Truffert, a left back that Liverpool have been linked with. And the tag of it is, who is Adrian Truffert? He's a 22-year-old left back who currently plays for Rouen in France. Came through the academy with the League One club, making his debut in 2020. He has one cap for the full France squad, coming on as a substitute in the Nations League game against Denmark in September 2022, and he's failed to make the squad since then. He was a key part of France's side for the Olympic Games, where they finished second, losing 5-3 in extra time to Spain. And last season he made 43 appearances to run in all competitions, scoring twice and having 7 assists. He was mainly used at left back, but also on occasion pushed forward into a more advanced midfield role. So he's one of the names that have been mentioned as a possible successor to Andy Robertson. Now, I have not watched a minute of this guy. If you want to search him up yourself, his name is Adrian Truffert. Adrien Truffert. Plays for Rouen as a left back, 22 years of age. So yeah, have a little look yourselves when you get a chance. Have a little scout of him. Let me know what you think. He's another name that's been mentioned as potentially being somebody that we are looking at. That's all I really have on that. I don't know of any prices. I don't know of any confirmed interest from Liverpool, but he is somebody whose name has come up in the last couple of days. There you go. Thank you very much, mate, for putting that in the chat. Jamie Vardy just scored there, Mark said, to make it Leicester 1, Spurs 1. So, RM Valencia, who I guess are a Valencia fan account, said, a kind of cold war has already been established between Liverpool and Valencia for MAMARDASHVILI, where they have been blocked for days and it can ruin the operation. Liverpool due to not see those €40 million as suitable to undertake the operation, meaning Liverpool don't want to pay €40 million for MAMARDASHVILI, where apparently United might be willing to if they can move a few pieces around beforehand. So I'm going to again go back to what Sam Maguire said. If we want 25 for Kelleher and we don't think he's good enough to take over from Alisson, or that he isn't willing to wait around to take over from Alisson, then how is spending £34 million or €40 million on a goalkeeper who we absolutely believe can be the number one? How are we not doing it? Are we procrastinating now for the sake of it? Are we just we don't want to get a reputation as being an asshole club to deal with either. So they got to get these things sorted out. And I feel like this has dragged on unnecessarily long. You know, make your stand. Either walk away completely and let it be known that that's the end of that, or pay the money. And I would certainly say pay the money seems to be the logical answer. Would you go for a left centre-back or a left-back? Said Carl. For me right now, left centre-back. But look, if that left centre-back can also play on the left side of the defence, whether it be full-back or centre-back, brilliant. But left centre-back and a midfielder. That's been my two areas going into this transfer window that I wanted to see addressed. We thought maybe with the Zubamendi deal we were going to get one of those sorted, but of course we all know how that figured out. So yeah, right now I still want 2 in, minimum, before the window closes. But I really just don't know what to expect anymore. there aren't even hints of stuff happening that we know of. And this is great if we end up waking up one day and just hearing that Liverpool have signed somebody, but it's nerve-wracking right now because as much as I want to get behind the team and will get behind the team, I'm not going to buy into this narrative that we're going to have a season without injuries again. I feel we will, so we need to go and add strength. Nessick said, they cannot be this terrible at negotiation. This is purposely from them, and I do not trust them with any transfers at the moment. It does seem a little bit overly fussy, doesn't it? Like, okay, granted, to you and I, 4 million quid is life-changing amounts of money. But for a football club looking to potentially replace the greatest goalkeeper on the planet, this could look like a steal in a year, 2 years, 3 years' time. And also we have to remember here that Bournemouth are waiting on this situation as well, because he's going to go on loan there for a season before he came to Liverpool. So there's a lot of clubs who are involved in this, and yeah, I feel like, are we just being too fussy, taking too long? And I hope to God this isn't the only deal we're working on. Paul Hegarty said, it's crazy to think we have to get more money in on sales to buy a decent target. Fair, but it's also crazy to think, Paul, that we still haven't signed anyone. What really annoys me though, Paul, is no plan B options. Because it's been many years looking for this mythical number 6. And we ended up landing on a player who is notoriously difficult to get out of Sociedad. Many clubs have tried it. Arsenal tried it. Now it seems like we got the closest, but still didn't get it done. So to have taken that long and then go for a very difficult signing and not get it done and have no other option, that is inexcusable to me, personally. But I can only give you my opinion. On top of that, to have done nothing about contract renewals, it feels like we are really rolling the dice here. And how does your captain and vice captain feel about not being a priority? Not great, I can imagine. You know, they'll say all the right things publicly, but when you've got young players like Harvey Blair and Bobby Clark and McConnell, I think it was, posting up those images, something doesn't feel right here. Something just doesn't feel right. I don't know what it is, but something doesn't feel right. So James Pearce has been speaking about or quoting former Liverpool Director of Research Ian Graham, who was speaking about whether Klopp became more difficult to work with. This is what he had to say. I can't speak for Michael Edwards or Julian Ward, but I was overdue a change. I'm not going to pretend that everything was always harmony and light at Liverpool. Now, without trying to get sensationalist about that, because every business club, there's disagreements all the time. You, in your jobs, probably disagree with people in your industry or your job all the time. But it feels to me from the outside of all of this like there is something still not right somewhere in the club. I'm disappointed to see those young players feeling that they almost have to push to get themselves some football or get out of the club. It doesn't scream harmony, does it? Stevie says, right now it's the 19th of August, 0 signings, 0 contract renewals on Trent, VVD or Salah. Yep. Them, sir, are facts. And you can't argue with a fact. It is what it is. And we were all sold a vision and given the promise of the 3 signings we wanted to make in the window. And we were all told to be patient and wait till August. Well, now we're two-thirds of the way through August. We have 1.5 weeks left of a transfer window. And nothing. Other than money coming into the club. Lauren said, our plan A was a player who's notoriously difficult to get out of Sociedad. We haven't re-signed our captain and vice-captain. Unacceptable. It is unacceptable, my friend. And by the way, some people need to realise that as fans, we can be critical of certain aspects of the club and still get behind the manager and the players on the pitch. Most of us are passionate about this transfer window because we believe in the players and the manager, but know there are slight deficiencies that over the course of a long, grueling season will lead to injuries or a suspension come up. Something that in the very big moments, and remember, we're always told that football's a game of small margins, and it is. So adding strength and depth and quality is a minimum. Now, I'm getting a bit fed up of hearing that Liverpool won't be put under pressure by outside influences and they will only go for the players that they absolutely want. That's grand. But you need to do something. You can't just say we're going to keep ignoring outside noises and do fuck all. Like that's not doing anything. That's just procrastinating yourself to death. Do something. You guys get to decide who the players are. So do it. Do what you're paid for. Which is to find the players to give the coach the opportunity to win. Do it. Thoughts on bringing in a centre-back and a sixth to rotate with Ryan? I feel Ryan can be very good and it's better to have some depth. So Ryan Gravenberch is a player I have really high hopes for. I didn't when he came to the club. I was very concerned. And that was quickly put to bed because I seen the class of the guy. But he isn't the specialist number 6. And yes, Arne Slot might feel that he can coach him into one. And I'm absolutely open to that. But it still doesn't solve the depth issue in that position. And it still doesn't give increased competition for that position, which will hopefully raise levels for everybody. So, yeah, I've no issues with coaching improvements out of players. But I do have issues with knowing that we're 1 or 2 injuries away from a massive, massive headache. Again, I'm going to remind everybody how we all felt at half-time against Ipswich when we thought for a while that maybe Jarrad Kwanzaa had picked up a knock. Immediately, alarms were going off in my brain thinking, oh, here we go. Already now, the squad depth is being paper thin. And that's just one game. So imagine that over the course of a season. Now, thankfully, it was a tactical change from the gaffer. But the fear was still there amongst almost all Liverpool fans. Stephen Landry said, it's incredible how Klopp lasted 9 years with FSG. He really loved the club. He did. And the city. And look, Klopp just got it. Everything. Klopp was that manager that you would go into a factory and throw in all the ingredients for a Liverpool manager and you come up with something looking like Jurgen Klopp. Absolutely spot on. And I think Arne Slot in his own way will be another manager that understands the club he's at, understands the city he's working in, and he won't be Jurgen Klopp. You know, he isn't as charismatic as Jurgen is, but he does have other traits that certainly appeal to me. I've mentioned this many times since the weekend, but I was incredibly impressed with the fact that he made the bold call to take off Jarrad Kwanzaa, bring Ibrahim Konate on, and talk to the guys about winning their duels and the battles around the pitch. That was very quickly established and dealt with. Now, Gary Lineker and some others, I think, are a bit... What's the phrase that they use in this piece? 1 second. Gary Lineker a bit nervous about Arne Slot's anti-Jurgen Klopp tactic. Gary Lineker felt nervous when Arne Slot publicly criticised Jarrad Kwanzaa's performance after Liverpool's Premier League opener against Ipswich Town. Now, I don't really think he did criticise the performance. He spelled out what is a fact. He was losing his battles. You know, and if you're too thin-skinned as a player that you can't take that on board, that's a bigger issue. Because everybody's going to have off days. Everyone. Whether you're Virgil van Dijk, Alisson Becker, Mohamed Salah or Jarrad Kwanzaa. They're football players who are humans, who have other stuff going on, who may feel a bit under the weather. Anything can affect the performance. So, I'm proud of the manager for making that call. And I have no doubt that Jarrad Kwanzaa will be a great centre-back for this football club. And was just having a bad day. That's fine. I don't get all this hype. And again, let's talk about Raheem Sterling for a second. Did you see the whole situation with him and Chelsea? And I'm glad that Carragher, Neville, Redknapp, Mika Richards and many others have called out Raheem Sterling's petulance. Because that's what it is. He put out a statement, or his agent put out a statement, bemoaning the fact that he wasn't in the matchday squad for Chelsea and talking about how disappointed he was as a servant to the club, blah, blah, blah. And everybody did the same thing. Shut up and do your talking on the pitch. Show the manager that you deserve to be in the squad. And I'm again behind that as well. I don't like people having smoke constantly blown up their backsides and not being open to any type of constructive criticism. Not hate. Nobody wants hate. But constructive criticism. They should be able to deal with that. So what Raheem Sterling should be doing is knocking on the manager's door himself and saying something like, Gaffer, I was disappointed to be left out of the matchday squad, but I'm going to knuckle down and I'm going to make a point of proving to you that you can rely on me, and when called upon, I will make a difference. And respond in the right way. You've no divine right to be included in any matchday squad. If a manager feels that any player isn't up to it at that moment, they've got to make the call that they think is best for the organisation, for the rest of the squad. I'm not saying that Maresca was right or wrong. It's not my club. But I am saying that that was a pretty pathetic act from Sterling's agent, in my opinion. And again, in the opinion of many professionals, I think he read the situation wrong. No to Gordon, please. People are getting desperate, not that desperate. I look, of course, we all as fans have different views on players we think will or won't work. I do think Anthony Gordon would be good for Liverpool Football Club for a host of reasons. Do I think he's the best possible signing? No, I don't. I think there are others. But I would absolutely take Anthony Gordon at Liverpool, 100%. And the club, to the best of my understanding, certainly rate Anthony Gordon very highly. I've liked the progress he's made at Newcastle since he left Everton. There are things he needs to change. He needs to stay in the street a bit more. But we could also do with some pace in our attack. So, look, each to their own. And I'm not going to judge you for saying you wouldn't like him. But for me, I'm trusting of the names that the transfer committee come up with. I'm untrusting of the execution of bringing them in. But so far, so good with regards to the track record of Michael Edwards and his signings. Is Gyökeres or Chiesa still possible? Chiesa is such a weird one. Like, he's been left out of matchday squads, first team training by Thiago Motta. Again, Thiago Motta has been refreshingly honest and said, look, I talk to my players like adults. I speak to them honestly. I don't see him being a part of the squad, so I'm telling him that so we can get a move. The price tag being mentioned can be as low as 16, 17 million euro. I'm absolutely astonished that nobody has taken a punt on him. I get the concerns about injuries, maybe form, but if you weigh up the risk-reward ratio, somebody surely could do with another forward in their squad. I don't necessarily think he's the greatest fit for us, but genuinely I'm a little bit shocked that he's still available in this market and nobody has made a play for him yet. Jordan, thank you for your super chat, mate. Said, yeah, there we go. We're not signing anyone. I've come to terms with it. When it all goes badly due to injury, you have to remind them of this moronic decision. Well, I mean, I hope you're wrong about the first part of what you said, Jordan, but the rest of it, I don't really have anything to push back on, because I think it's fairly reality based. You know, we are going to be short with that injury or two, bro. I'm with you. Yeah, I mean, there's never been a season, really, that... Like, people say we won the Premier League the year after we didn't make signings in the summer. Fair. But Klopp was established at that point, had a good read of his squad, knew who we could and couldn't trust, and came close before and went again and absolutely walked the league. Won it at a canter. But that's once. So that excuse... There seems to be a never-ending list of excuses for not making signings. From certain fans, from certain club... parroting is probably the right word. Media. But my track record of calling out this shit is long. We got away with it the times where we've rolled the dice, and we've not got away with it and other times we've rolled the dice. There are seasons we knew we needed centre-backs, we didn't get them, we just about scraped into the Champions League. And for all of those people who said, well, Klopp won this, that, or that, my argument is always we would have won more. We would have won more with that extra player or two. We just would have. Because the Premier League is a grueling league. There are no real walkover games in it. Every team is competitive and puts up a fight. And it's a high-paced league. Add to that, most of the players at a club like Liverpool or United are going to be international quality players who during the September, October, November, March international windows are going to be jetting off to far and wide Africa, South America, Europe, Australia, Japan, and that takes its toll as well. So we have to assume we're going to pick up injuries. We have to assume that we're going to need to lean on squad depth. And I've seen some people argue that, well, look at the bench against Ipswich. It was still quite a strong bench without Gomez and Van den Berg there. And there's some truth to that as well. But it wasn't strong enough, for my opinion. Not for a team that wants to go and win the league. So, get it done. Just get it done. I don't know if we will or won't. Again, I'm not going to snap at people who said just accept that we're not making any signings, because I can't say that you're 100% wrong, nor I think can I say that anyone who's optimistic is 100% wrong. All we can deal in are the facts of the situation. The facts of the situation are that here we are now, 10 days left in the window, and we've done nothing. And I mean literally, actually worse than nothing, because we've embarrassed ourselves publicly, which is definitely worse than doing nothing. When you've got Spanish media mocking you, offering a player 3 times the money he was on at the club he's at, and still not getting him, that's not a good look. Acentino, thank you as always, mate, for your super chat. Said, I think we will sign 1 or 2 small people, but I have been saying all summer they are getting rid of Klopp players, including Trent. You certainly have said that a lot, mate, over the summer. I'll give you a credit on that one. I just fail to see how anybody can't look at Trent from a Liverpool perspective and think we need to keep this guy around. You know? And Virgil, another Klopp signing, was also, I think, an Edwards signing though, right? So surely you want him around. Salah, it might just come down to a case of Liverpool maybe offering him a deal that he doesn't feel reflects his status at the club. Maybe they can't get to a number that makes Mo happy. I don't know. But ultimately, letting these guys potentially leave for nothing, that doesn't sit well when we're a club that's told every penny has to count. What about Chiesa? How are they allowed to spend 85 million without any comeback? Who's they, Ian? Sorry, mate. I don't know who the they is. Chelsea. Sorry, I read that wrong, Ian. That's on me, bro, not you. That's the tiredness. How about Chelsea? How are they allowed to spend 185 million without any comeback? Probably for the same reason they were allowed to lose 900 grand a week for 17 years under Abramovich, mate, without any real pushback. Shenanigans would be the word I'd use there, bro. Shenanigans. I don't know. And then you've got other clubs like Leicester who are facing 2 points deductions, or Villa who felt the need to sell Douglas Luiz to balance the books, or Newcastle who had to move out players to balance the books. I honestly don't know what the hell Todd Bowley and Chelsea are at. I haven't got a clue. The turnover of players, the length of contracts, it seems insanity. So I don't know, mate. I really just do not know. Like, they've agreed a deal to bring in João Felix, who just was shit when he was there already. And they're bringing him back in. I'm at a loss, mate. Honestly, I don't know. I'd love somebody from a Chelsea perspective, or maybe a Chelsea fan, to try and explain it, because it feels very scattergun. And it feels very throw 100 things at the wall and hope some of them stick. But yeah, it's risky. Essex Copbite, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, my friend. Lovely to have you in. Appreciate you. And thank you for your super chat earlier as well. Craig, will they sacrifice Diaz for Gordon, or will there be room for both in Liverpool, in your opinion? I don't know if they'll sacrifice one for the other. Would there be room for both? Yes, if one of them, longer term, was brought in to play on the right. So if we assume for a second, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but if we assume for a second that Salah leaves at the end of the season, then we need somebody to play on the right side, and maybe Diaz goes across there, or maybe Gordon goes across that side. Absolutely, I'm open to that possibility. It's going to be up to whether Barca pay the money that Liverpool want. And it looks like our valuation has dropped from the start of the summer, where I've seen reports of about 65, 70 million pound. Now they're talking 50 million pound. So if Barca can find the magic levers, you never know. But then we'd also have to be open to thinking Newcastle are willing to sell, and with very little time left in the window, would they realistically want to weaken themselves without time to bring in a replacement? I don't know the answer to that either. There's a lot of hypotheticals going on here. But again, the fact of the matter are, we've signed nobody. It's concerning that top players have been allowed to get to the final 12 months of the contract and not buying players to strengthen for a new manager, says all you need to know about FSG. Yes. Like, I know I sound like a broken record here, Will. But some stuff I can wrap my head around to think maybe I'm viewing this wrong. Maybe I really don't understand the intricacies of this model. But with the Trent situation in particular, there is no justifiable reason to not have sold him or given him a new deal. Do one or the other. Because letting him go to Real Madrid for free will look like one of the most idiotic decisions this football club has made in my lifetime, if it happens. For a few reasons. Reason one, he's a local boy that we all want to stay. Reason two, if you sold him when he was at his peak value to somebody, you at least see pure profit, because he's an academy product. So allowing him to walk out the door for nothing, and then telling you and me and any other Liverpool fan around the world that this is a football club that has to be self-sufficient and make every penny count, it doesn't square off in my head. So again, I don't have an answer for that one. It's madness. Jordan Lawson, thank you, my friend, for your super chat. Said, I think this season is a make or break season for the future of the club. If things go badly, then I feel like it'll be an avalanche. It's certainly an important season to re-establish our credentials. Are we falling away from the top end of the table? Has that cycle ended? If so, then all of these people who've been brought in have failed miserably. And the people who own the club have failed miserably. Because succession planning is important. And we did a lot of work, a lot of business last summer. Some of it brilliant, some of it average. But to do nothing, again, just screams of either arrogance or procrastination, one or the other. I think Anthony Robinson would be a good fit for Liverpool, said AMA. The problem I'm with him could be to do with his age as well. Like, he's not young. He's what, 26, 27? Doesn't really fit the profile of the type of signing that we've become accustomed to Liverpool making under these owners, and particularly with Michael Edwards at the helm of those side of things. Usually looking for somebody in the 19 to 24 bracket. Yeah, that's all I can say, mate. I mean, he's a good player, but I don't know if I'm being lulled into that. He did well against us, so I have a high regard from him, if you get me. Like, I read a thing with Ian Graham earlier on. They were talking about Christian Benteke and how it was Brendan Rodgers who was adamant in signing Benteke, and those at the club on the analysis side of things, the numbers weren't adding up. It wasn't a good signing. But he was working off the basis that Benteke had ripped us apart when we played him and had run us ragged. So I guess I can understand that as well. So that might be where I'm at with Anthony Robinson, because he's been one of the people when we've played against Fulham who I think have raided the space that Trent used to vacate when playing in that hybrid role better than most others. He exploited that space and that opportunity very well. So I don't know if I'm being kind of swayed by that a little bit, but certainly a shout that many Liverpool fans have made over the summer with the name anyway. Do I like Theo Hernandez? No, not at all. When I've watched him play, he's either been really good or really bad. Too erratic for me, and I don't know if he's the type of personality that would work at Liverpool. Chris Byrne said, Pinchers in the house. The reason we'll see Slot thrown under the bus, Craig, is just the owners are so stingy. I keep saying to God, even though I'm not religious, I really hope that isn't the case for Slot, because I really like this guy. I'm so happy that he was the one that the club brought in. And judging on how he's reacted with the players over not doing their jobs in their duels in the first game, I don't for 1 second believe he's going to be a shrinking violet with regards to his opinions if the owners aren't pulling their weight. I get the feeling he'll speak. I like him. I really do like him. And I want him to succeed badly. Baris Yilmaz, anything on him? Nothing new, Tanya. The only thing that really came out was when he was in London that time. Other than that, the Galatasaray, I want to say president, I don't know who it was from Galatasaray, said that they're not selling him, they're keeping him. How's my FPL? Haven't checked, is the honest answer, George. Haven't had a look yet. Did you see the Leon Goretzka news from the Echo? No, I haven't. I will be astonished for various reasons if Liverpool went to look for Leon Goretzka. Reason one being his salary. I remember Melissa Reddy wrote something or was on an Anfield Rap podcast or was talking about Leon Goretzka when he was at Schalke before he moved to Bayern. And way back then he was looking for like 250 grand a week. And I can't imagine having gone and established himself with Germany that or with Bayern, that number's going to go downwards. So what's this? David Lynch said, absolutely expect that Liverpool will sign somebody if they let Joe Gomez go. I would expect that. By the way, I'm recording with David Lynch on Friday. So I will be asking, obviously, David about the game of the weekend and, of course, about the transfer window. So, yeah, I've got David penciled in to record with on Friday. So that should be coming out as a podcast and a video episode on Friday evening. If Trent leaves, they will not get another player like him. Robbie, I agree. I agree. You know, and again, the thing about Trent is he's one of those players you can give higher wages to because we didn't pay a transfer fee. So he's not like his transfer owes the club a load of money. Trent came through the academy. Give him a deal. Pay the man. Simple as that. Pay him. Do hit that like button, by the way. I feel like we're going to lose tonight, by the way. This could be the night where we lose our streak of hitting 1,000 likes on every live because it's a quieter evening. So if you are in, I really need you to hit that like button if you have a chance. And also, I just want to highlight this again. A couple of our subscribers are doing a charity beard shave to raise money for the Greater Manchester Blood Bikes who transport blood to hospitals for patients in need. They do it completely for free. They do it off their own back as volunteers. And if you guys want to, the link is in the description of this stream, or go across there and go to the Just Giving page and search them. Make a donation if you can. It's great work that they're doing, and we want to support that, of course. What's the situation on the transfer front, Craig? We need signings. I honestly wish I had more positive news for you on transfers, but there's not much. I mean, Liverpool are monitoring a highly rated 19-year-old winger from Ghent. Matthias Fernandez Pardo is what Chris Wheatley said. I have no idea. I don't watch Ghent. I haven't got any clue about this guy. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Maybe you've watched more of him than I have. We've been linked with him. Also, Anfield Sector posted interest in Gomez is ramping up with clubs. In active talks with his representatives, Wasserman, and also reaching out to Liverpool to be informed on the finances of the deal. Some big clubs circling. So again, this is kind of at odds with other reports that said Gomez is committed to Liverpool. Ian Doyle said Aston Villa, Bayern Munich, Fulham, Crystal Palace and Chelsea are among those keeping a watching brief. Newcastle could rekindle their interest. Whether the Reds can still command a £45 million fee, though, is questionable. Bayern Munich aren't interested in Joe Gomez. We can put that one to bed. Reports from Germany say for them it's Jonathan Tah or nobody. So wait and see there. I'm just checking my notes to see if there's other stuff that I haven't gone through yet. So, again, this piece from Simon Hughes said, Premier League sporting directors have huge power but little accountability. Rather than quiz managers about transfers over which they have no control, it's time to hear from the people who are really in control. And again, I'd love sporting directors to come out front of camera and actually speak up about what's happening. Again, I don't expect them to tell us everything, but it would be nice to be reassured that Liverpool are genuinely trying to do stuff in this window. Another one, Valencia's position on Georgi Mamardashvili is clear. Either Liverpool pay the 40 million or the goalkeeper will stay put. So, pay it or don't, Liverpool. Just have to send Connor something real quick, sorry. Sorry, apologies. Give Salah a new deal, said Sydney. Mate, I'd rather that than let him walk for nothing. You know, I don't think he deserves a pay rise. Not off 350. I think that's a fair wage for where he's at in his career, stage of his career. But he's still doing numbers. He's still impacting games in a big positive way. So, yes, absolutely. I'd have no issues with the club giving him a deal. Like Trent, like Virgil, the only thing that I can't comprehend here is any of these guys walking for free. Again, doesn't seem like a clever business to me. Steve said, Evening Reds, my favourite band, Modest Mouse, just announced 2 concerts within driving distance of me, so I wanted to share the good vibes. Nice. Well in, Steve. We like that. Fair play, mate. That's good. Are you going to both of them, though? That's the one thing I need to... I remember I went to Oasis 3 nights on the trot when I was about 17. Sean Stacey said, I genuinely think we're not getting anyone going to be so pissed off after all these links. Why would Bayern accept a Gomez-Kimmich swap? Or would Bayern accept a Gomez-Kimmich swap? I don't know, but again, we've no information to suggest that Joshua Kimmich is a good fit for the way Arne Slot wants to play. We don't know that to be the case, so again, without knowing the targets, it's difficult to know who exactly we are going to go after, but at this point, as I keep saying, nobody is unacceptable. Like, signing nobody is just not... should not be on the table as an option. Bayern said they're not interested in Gomez. I did say that a few minutes ago, mate, to be fair. I did say that a few minutes ago. Reports coming out of Germany suggest that, yes, they're not interested. But, again, I don't mean this to sound blunt. I really don't. And it's not aimed at anyone. I don't give a shit about selling players at this point, because there's no good that's going to come to the squad from doing that now. Just get the lads in. For the love of God, get some signings in. We know that the club know how to sell players. We've sussed that. But how about bringing them in? How about backing the new manager that you put in charge after your search? Bring him in. Back him. Show him you have faith in him. And let the good vibes commence. Incoming players is what we need urgently, said Will. Callum said FSG out. So, look. I am on the FSG outside of this debate. I am. I'm also aware of the devil you know argument. It's a difficult situation because Liverpool fans are clearly divided to some extent on how good or bad these owners are. And for me, if you have these conversations, even though many will say I don't have credibility, I feel like to try and have that credibility, we need to be as balanced as we can be with what we know ourselves, which is, yes, they've done the obviously good things. There's an argument to be made about why they did those good things, but they did them. So many people will say they built a main stand the Annie Road end, and that's a good thing. More supporters in the ground. But it's also a good thing for them, because they get to have the money that they loaned the club paid back by the increased foot traffic and increased sales, and ultimately it will add profit for them when they sell. And I'm okay with that. The stuff about trademarking Liverpool was unacceptable on every level. The furloughing of staff was unacceptable on every level. The Super League stuff was the real dagger in the heart for me. That was the I have no trust. How can we be expected to trust people that were willing to do that so callously, so clandestine in nature? It was disgusting. So from that point on, any goodwill I had towards them was gone. But I didn't want to just be this toxic, mouthy, FSG out at every opportunity type guy. My biggest gripe with them has always been in transfer windows. So watch me for the rest of the season. And I don't really talk about FSG too much because they're irrelevant outside of the windows in my mind. The windows is when they need to step up. The rest of the season, it's on the coaches and the player to do the job. and we talk about football. But during the transfer window, they've got to do their job. They've got to start signing players. Sorry, my chat has frozen. Bear with me. Yeah, sorry, my chat froze for a second, so I was missing some of your comments. Did you see the trainee-only post-crossbar challenge with Lucho and Darwin? Nope, I haven't had a chance, mate. So, full-time in the other game, Leicester 1, Spurs 1. Thank you, Mark. Essex Catboy, how are you, my friend? Said, just wanted to say why I joined, Craig. I have Asperger's, my son too, and you inspire me to be a better person and father. I hope to meet you one day. Thank you so much, mate. That's lovely. Nothing but love to you and your son, mate. I have Asperger's. My son's on the autism spectrum, which Asperger's, as I'm sure you're aware, is a form of autism, but I'm very high functioning. There are just certain things for me that I have to watch out for, some sensory issues. Certainly frustration is something that I don't deal too well with. And I think very in a black and white kind of manner. Something either is or isn't for me. I struggle with grey areas in life. But yeah, man, thank you so much for that. And much love to you and your son. Thank you for watching. Players are turning us down. I'm more worried about that, said Stan. Yeah, it isn't a great look, bro. I get you when you've got Tchouaméni, Caicedo, Lavia, and now Zubimendi all turning us down for various different reasons. I mean, Tchouaméni's reason was very honest and fair. He wanted to go to Real Madrid. That was his dream move. Caicedo, you can say he was being loyal to Chelsea. He'd put the groundwork in, but I still feel he made the wrong decision. Lavia, I don't really know too much about that situation. And Zubimendi was the real... The one that's disappointed me was Zubimendi, because that was under Edwards. And that I was not expecting to happen. You know, I firmly believed with how trusting they were that he wanted to come. I really thought that was going to happen, but it didn't. And the fact we're hearing that likely isn't going to be an alternative to that drives me demented. Callum, thank you for your super sticker, mate. Appreciate you. Or your super chat, sorry. Appreciate it. You didn't put a comment in, mate, but thank you nonetheless. Darwin will get into the team. He's a fighter. Well, it's up to Darwin now. You know, Diogo started the season and scored. So it's his shirt right now. And Darwin needs to knuckle down and tell and convince the manager that he's that guy. It's up to him. Yeah, that's the way I look at this situation. I want Darwin to succeed. Of course I do. But he has to make sure that when he does get his chances, and I don't mean on the pitch, I mean to play, that he takes them and makes the most of them. That he listens. The one thing that I've been really frustrated with Darwin is, yes, he gets caught offside a lot, but why doesn't he just... He's got the pace. Give yourself half a yard or a yard. And if we can get that understanding between the midfield and Darwin, or between his fellow forwards and him, about when to make that move, what triggers the run, he could be unstoppable once he gets going. So, lots of reasons for optimism in that regard. I love that we've got two number 9s fit in Jota and Darwin. Let them battle it out on the training ground. Let them fight it out when they get their opportunities on the pitch to see who delivers and who doesn't. That's what competition's all about. Mark said, if I remember, Lavia was because FSG wouldn't pay the money. That was initially, Mark, yes. But when we lost out on Caicedo, after saying we would not pay £50 million for Lavia, then all of a sudden we were willing to pay 55 or 60 million pounds for him when we lost to Caicedo. So it was embarrassing on multiple fronts. Again, could have got him by just paying the 50 when Chelsea were trying to get Caicedo done. But we didn't view him as worth 50 until we shit the bed on Caicedo, and then all of a sudden he was worth more than 50. That isn't a good look. That's a panic. Will said, you can't spend the lowest of the top 6 teams and hope you're challenging for trophies. This just needs to change for Arne. Mate, you're preaching to the choir again. I'm with you, Will. 100%. Consistently, we have been the lowest of the big clubs in regards to spending. Season in, season out. Even last year, which was, by all accounts, a rebuild season. We still only had a 90 million net, which was a big year for us. I think that's the biggest net spend we've had since FSG bought the club. That's a Wednesday for Chelsea. Hijack Ugarte deal. He's not good enough. He isn't. Not for the way we want to play. He just doesn't have the distribution. He's a great winner of the ball. He's a great competitor. He's a good combative midfielder. But he doesn't have the distribution. I would rather use Gravenberch than Ugarte in the 6. Honestly, I just don't see him working in our system. Lee Hayward said, Lavia said the same as Caicedo, that Chelsea have been in contact with his agent for ages. Yeah, but you could have made the pitch to him that, do you really think you're getting in there ahead of £200 million players? You know, you could have made him the pitch to go, we want you to be that guy. We want you to be the forever guy. But again, I do accept your point, mate. Brian, there he is. Gifting 50 Anfield Agenda memberships. Absolutely amazing generosity as always, Brian. Thank you. So, well done to everyone that's got one of those from Brian. Congrats. Callum Wilson said, do you think the owners are setting up Slot to fail? I mean, even as much as I don't like them, mate, I would struggle to get to that thought process. Because it just doesn't make any sense. Why would you surely? Why would you tank your own manager? You know, it's. I would believe that maybe they think he can work miracles with a shoestring budget, and that maybe they think his coaching is so good that he can outperform feck all signings. But yeah, I don't think that they intentionally tank the manager. That would be next level scumbag behaviour. Yeah, I can't see that. But I also don't see that they're giving him the best opportunity to succeed. So I guess I'm somewhere in the middle. Brian spending more than FSG 2 nights running. Well, facts are, I mean, every single one of you that sent the super chat or gifted a membership have been spending more than FSG have. Between Brian and Barry, yeah. I mean, Brian, can you and Barry get together, form some type of hedge fund and buy the club, please and thank you? I trust both of your judgments, certainly ahead of the Bostonian succubus. That's what I'm going to call him now. Caicedo was being poor for 100 plus million. Kovacic poured, pressed on him, and the other 100 million plus racist. To be fair, Lavia looked good. So I can't disagree with you, Mark, that Caicedo has looked poor. But what I would say is, under Jurgen or Arne and some more stability, I do think he would have had a better season. Certainly under Jurgen, I don't think Caicedo would have failed in the same extent that he did at Chelsea. I think Jurgen would have made him a better player. And I think Arne Slot would have made him a better player. So, yeah, I get the point, but I do think if he came to us, he wouldn't have been in that position. Carl Clear, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. So this is the part where I'm pitching myself for a moment or two, folks. As you can see, we are coming back to Liverpool November 15th, one night only, at the Hot Water Comedy Club, once again, our favourite venue. Myself, Connor, Mr. Paddy Doyle is going to be providing a musical set for you guys. Carl Porter is going to be coming and doing another stand-up comedy set, and the tickets are on sale right now. You can get the tickets with the link in the description of the stream and pinned to the top of the chat. Any of our moderators that want to come to the gig, let me know. You get free tickets. I said this in our Discord group, I'll say it again. Our moderators are the lifeblood of the channel. If you guys would like to come to the show, email us and I will sort you those tickets on the house as a little thank you. Same with mugs. Moderators get mugs. So when we release the Anfield Agenda mugs, we're going to make sure that we post them out to our moderators again as a little thank you for you guys, for your support, because we couldn't do this day after day, night after night, without the support of our team of moderators, led of course by Mark. So yeah, thank you for all you do for us, because it means a lot. Ben said, I think we sign Wharton next year. Oh, I'd love you to be right, Ben. The only thing I would say about that is I've read quite a bit about Manchester City having their eye on him as well. Now, hopefully, they aren't going to be a problem, because fingers crossed they get relegated into oblivion. But yeah, let's wait and see. Craig, didn't Barry say he had a new business venture? He did. He didn't say what it was. Maybe he's buying Liverpool. I don't know. Craig, an idea. On league games, could it be an idea to do a giveaway merch out for the person who gets first scorer and results correct? That person must have liked the video too. I'm just trying to think of the logistics of how we make that possible. Because there are rules to YouTube with regards to giveaways and stuff like that you have to take into account. For instance, I can't say to people, every month we're going to give away a PlayStation to one of our members, as an example. Which is something that, of course, we'd love to be able to do, but you're not allowed to do it. So, yeah, I'm always up for rewarding people for viewing, for commenting, for being here with us, of course. And speaking of being here with us, Brian, for the mods, fantastic job that they always do. Again, very kind of you, Brian. I've already sent a few tickets out to some of our moderators, and Mark, you need to just let me know how many you need, mate, and I'll get them over to you tonight as well. Before, because this show could sell out if it's the theatre that we were doing the last time, the 240 odd seater one. It'll probably sell out and that's it. We're not going bigger, because that was the one we wanted to do the last time, but it wasn't built yet. It wasn't finished. So we moved into the 400 or the 589 seater one. But yeah, this time we hope to have a full house, and honestly, we're going big with the show. So we hope you can come along. And again, Brian, thank you, mate, so much. Appreciate everything. Appreciate your friendship offline more than anything, mate. Craig, have we been linked with Ederson, and are we getting him? So have we been linked loosely? I'm a big fan. I want us to sign him. The worry I have is that Juventus won Coop Miners, and Atalanta don't even want to sell him, but may have to sell him to reinvest elsewhere. They're looking at O'Reilly from Celtic. So I struggle to see that they'd want to lose two midfielders in one window going into another Champions League season. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think that's a runner. As much as I'd love it to happen, because, you know, he's been my number one choice all summer. And Kevin said thanks for the membership as well. Absolutely legendary stuff. So, for those of you who maybe were watching the Spurs game and have come back in a little bit later, let me run through a few things for you that we've seen in today's media. So, Valencia's position on Georgi MAMARDASHVILI is clear. Either Liverpool pay €40 million or the goalkeeper stays put. Liverpool's stance apparently is that they value him at €35 million. And in the meantime, we now have to add the concern about Manchester United coming in to hijack this deal. because they're also said to be interested in the Valencia goalkeeper, but they have to move a few pieces around to free up the money. So we better get moving on this, because we cannot have another transfer target turn us down or go elsewhere. It's got to be sorted. And even at that, it's not going to be for this season, is it? Then there's the news about Joe Gomez. Ian Doyle said that Villa, Munich, and Munich aren't interested anymore, by the way, I should point that out. Fulham, Palace and Chelsea are among those keeping a watching brief. Newcastle could rekindle their interest. Again, talking about Joe Gomez. Jarrad Branthwaite. Whether a departure of Gomez could lead to genuine interest in Branthwaite remains to be seen. It's also unclear at this stage if there's any real appetite at Liverpool to push ahead with what would undoubtedly be a costly and shocking move. Look, let me just say this about Branthwaite. If Everton gave us a number, and that number was at all realistic, and the data shows that he fits into the model, we would be idiots not to try, as long as Everton gave us a number. But if Everton said, you can go as high as you like, he's not for sale, especially to you, fair enough, you walk away. But I would take him in a heartbeat. I think he's a really good defender. Then there was some concerning things, maybe. Former director of research at Liverpool, Dr. Ian Graham, who does have a new book out, and I would certainly urge you all to go and have a read of it. I believe he's doing the rounds. I think he was on Red Men, the Blood Red podcast, and a few others. I'm sure it's a fascinating read, certainly worth having a look at if you're into data and analytics. But former director of research Ian Graham, on whether Klopp became more difficult to work with, said, I can't speak for Michael Edwards or Julian Ward, but I was overdue a change. I'm not going to pretend that everything was always harmony and light at Liverpool. Which again would be the same in most companies, right? Not everyone's going to agree on everything all the time, but you would hope it never gets toxic. Again, some comments around Gomez saying, interest in Joe Gomez is ramping up, with clubs in active talks with his representatives and also reaching out to Liverpool to be informed on the finances of the deal. Some big clubs circling. More talk about players leaving than players coming in. So we know, according to Dave O.C. Kopp, that Bobby Clark's going to be heading over to Austria tomorrow to do his medical and sort out his move away. We've already seen Carvalho move away. Vandenberg and Gomez weren't in the matchday squad for the opening game. Both have been linked with move away. And the only concrete interest we know of is in Georgi MAMARDASHVILI, who is a goalkeeper for the future. That's where we're at in the window. Now, a couple of other bits and pieces that Chris Wheatley said: Liverpool are monitoring highly rated 19-year-old Ghent winger Matthias Fernandez Pardo. Then there was the Ron left back that we've been linked with as well. Let me just grab his name for you before I forget. It's Adrian Truffer. So Adrien, new word, Truffert. He is a 22-year-old left back who plays for Ron in France, and was in the Olympics as well with the French under-23 squad that finished runners-up to Spain. That's about it. And then we have the really suspect post from Leicester's sponsors. We're over the moon to announce the BEC game is now the principal partner of Leicester City. The partnership is a dream come true, and we can't wait to reach new heights together. And we are supposed to believe that this tweet has had 944 million views. The fuck it has. This company, when I looked last week, had less than 300 followers on their X account. Now I think it's 175,000 or something like that. And we've all seen these posts at clubs like Liverpool United when you announce a new sponsor or brand ambassador. Nobody cares that much that 1 billion people are going to look at a post with 93,000 likes and 1.9 thousand comments. Nah, sorry, don't believe it, don't buy it. I'm calling bullshit on those numbers. Yeah, no way. There's just no way they're getting almost 1 billion views of a post from a game that had next to no followers on X when it was posted originally, and now has gone up to 175,000 followers and nearly 1 billion views. Not having it. And I don't think others are either, which is why it keeps being highlighted, because those numbers, even when they posted with a tiny amount of followers, those numbers were like 800 million initially or something mad like that. Craig, going on holiday tomorrow, 2 in the morning. Well, enjoy. I'm going on my own holiday in, what are we now? 2 and a bit weeks. First international break, I'm off on holidays. Second international break, I'm also off. Well, I'm off on a bit of a business meeting actually for the October one. But yeah, I can't wait. Mentally, I am absolutely shattered after what's been a really draining summer with regards to your hopes being built up and then kind of falling away. So yeah, I need to switch off mentally for a week, which is going to be lovely. Branthwaite or Gay? For me, Martin, I would take Branthwaite over Mark Gay. There's been some talk that Liverpool could come back in for Mark Gay, but I don't see it for a couple of reasons. The main one being they've already turned down 65 million from Newcastle. So you're going to have to go bigger than that to get the deal done. I can't see it happening. So again, whomever it is we're supposed to believe that the club are looking to bring in, I'm still at a loss to figure out why we're waiting until the very, 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 very end of the window to do anything. Although, if I'm wrong, please explain it to me. That's what I keep saying to people that keep telling us all we're unable to understand the intricacies of it all. Explain it to us then. Rather than just shout us down and tell us we're all lunatics, take the time to explain it to us. Which is why we reached out to the club. When we say we reached out to the club, it's not because I'm upset that I don't get to interview Arne Slot. It's that I'm annoyed that we are just being completely ignored on all fronts. Not because I feel entitled, but because I want the level playing field that other people have. So we reached out to the club via email twice to ask about our position and to create a dialogue. So if the club came back and said, Craig, we don't really like what you're doing. We think that you're a little bit too over the top on the owners. Fair enough. But I'd like them to tell me why I'm wrong. And then I will happily hold my hands up if I understand this information and I'm showing to be absolutely wrong. Dialogue is the way forward, like I've always said, with everybody on anything. You disagree with somebody politically, or you disagree with somebody about music, you probably will find that when you talk to each other, you'll agree on 25 other things and you'll iron out those differences. But by boxing people off and ignoring them, you're creating hostility and you're making people feel disenfranchised, and it never ends well. So I'll keep doing what I'm doing, moseying along, enjoying the football, talking with fellow Liverpool fans, but we're not going away. And unless somebody explains to me or many other people who don't like these owners why we're so wrong, how can you expect us to stop? If we are so wrong, and if we aren't clever enough to understand it, try to explain it to us, please. Because I'm open to it. I'm open to the idea I'm wrong. Of course I am. I'm not pig-headed. But what I'm not open to is being mistreated and being treated differently to other people just because I don't toe the company line. That is bullshit. The silence and the message they don't want to engage. Yep. Exactly. And I don't know how they think that's ever going to be helpful. Now, if there was a case where they didn't engage with any fan content ever, and it was a policy, fair enough. But they do. But not for a particular type. Shall we say, a very outspoken type. Do I think we'll buy Gordon? I do think he ends up a Liverpool player at some point. I don't know if it's this window or not. I mean, it's looking unlikely it's this window. But, oh, by the way, we've 198 likes to go. We've 20 minutes left on the stream. We could keep up our record. If you haven't hit the like button, please do, because we've got 1,000 likes on, I think, our last 12 or 13 live streams. Keeping it real type. It's not that. I think sometimes people think that, how do I say this? So if I'm looking at myself in the cold light of day from the outside, can I understand how a clip or a thumbnail can make me look like I am down the rabbit hole of FSGO and there's no talking to me, or that I am a bit over the top? Of course I can. But what I would also say is, I well believe that anybody who takes the time to interact with me or to watch my streams will know very well that I'm not that person. But the things that go viral are either your best or worst moments. So it's either you're losing your rag over a 7-2, or you do a little fun song about Zubamendi and we don't sign him and then you look like an asshole. That's the game. I get that. But it's also my job to get people to know we exist. And to get people to know you exist, that's what thumbnails and titles are for. But they won't keep coming back if they don't like it, or they don't see something of themselves in you, or you're not hitting on something that's resonating with people. And that's where I think the club are missing a big opportunity. Is because I have no incentive to be against these owners. I want to support the club. I want to be behind the players and the manager. I don't want to be negative about the owners in any way, except I feel I have to. And that's the big difference. I'm not doing this for effect. I'm doing this because I really, to my soul, feel like they're not good enough in the transfer market. But I'm open to being told I'm wrong. But what I'm not open to being is ignored. Because just ask the people who trolled me on Twitter, who told me that I was dull, monotonous, boring, to go kill myself like my parents, who told me to give up podcasting or YouTube, who had other ones that were bigger than us at the time that tried to bully us into submission. Ask those motherfuckers how that worked out. Because I feed off that. I fuel myself with doubts. So keep underestimating our community all you want. But it isn't going that way. It's going that way. Because there is a feeling of discontent. There is an anger. There is a frustration. And to not address that or acknowledge its existence, I feel is foolhardy. I feel it's silly. Your voice is the voice of the voiceless. So I think I've told you this little tale before, but the channel started because I, as an overseas fan, felt like sometimes my opinion wasn't being taken seriously because I was Irish. Now, I'm talking about this from a point of view of other fans. And then I kind of established my name a little bit. And then I seen that people were shitting on the opinions of American fans or Australian fans. And I thought to myself, the Liverpool fans I know from Australia and America or Canada are some of the most hardcore fans who make more sacrifices just to watch the games than I'd probably be willing to make. So I've always felt like we are a de facto unofficial overseas supporters club. And I will speak up for those people who feel like they are being looked down upon in our fan base. Because I understand it. Because it pissed me off. And it still does. How can you tell somebody who gets up at 5 a.m, drives 25-30 minutes to a bar for a game of football to meet up with other Reds, or an Australian who has to go into a bar for a 2 a.m. kickoff but has to be in there at 10 or 11 for licensing laws to make sure they can watch the game in the pub so they can close the doors? How can you tell those people that they aren't real fans? or that because they weren't born in a certain postcode, they don't understand it. They don't get the intricacies of what it means to support the football club. It's always bugged me, because to me, I don't care how long you've supported the club, how much you know about it, or how little you know about it. A community is supposed to be about education. You teach me. I've learned so much from you. I teach you. You guys hopefully pick up some stuff from us. But what we don't do, and what we will never do, is judge you. Because you're born where you're born. You find the football club however you find the football club. My own story is an odd one. I told you, it was a loss that made me start supporting Liverpool. But I was spellbound as a child by the vision of Anfield, the colours, the cop. And I found my way to support Liverpool that way. And then I found out about the connections with my country and Liverpool. The emigration on the Liverpool boat from Dublin across. And then I fell in love with the city even more and its people. And the more I've gotten to know Scousers, the more I love them and the city. I don't know who these elitist assholes are that think that they are better than the rest of us. And they are in the minority. Because honestly, I've not met one in real life. Any Scouser I've met has been welcoming, friendly, knowledgeable, and understands that international fans are a huge reason why the club can be successful. And there's a balance struck. So I'm always going to speak up for those who feel like they're being shit down on, because nobody, my dad refused to call anybody Mr. I'm not saying he's right or wrong, but he refused to speak up to or down to anyone. Everybody's on this level. He raised me that way. We're all the same. Your family's as fucked up as my family. You've made the same mistakes I've made. None of us are perfect. I'm not here to judge. But I love you all dearly because of the people I know you are over these years of getting to know you. And I wish, for the love of God, that these entitled, arrogant assholes that judge the rest of us, I hope they get it. And I hope that they lose that chip on their shoulder. Because by embracing the greater Liverpool fan community, it has enhanced my life on a personal level beyond what I could ever comprehend. I started social media because I was lonely. Because I didn't leave the house. And I wanted to interact with people. Because my wife doesn't really watch football. I've no brothers or sisters. I wanted a connection. So I did it. And here we are. And it's been the most satisfying journey of my life. It's the thing I'm most proud of outside of my wife and kids. It's awesome. So they're missing out, is my point. It's a long-winded point. But they're missing out on this. They're missing out on getting to know you guys. And getting to know how big this club really is. You know, I love when new players and managers come in and they're like, oh yeah, Liverpool's a big club. I know Liverpool's a big club. And then they go on a pre-season tour. And then they go, oh shit. It's bigger than I thought. This is a special club. And its morals, its ethos, everything about it strike a chord with me. So I'm never going to stand for you guys being shit upon by anyone. I don't care how much it costs me, professionally or personally. I'm going to do what I've always done, which is speak up for those people who I know are good people and need to be treated better. Because I love you guys. It's that simple. There's so many of us here, like, it's deadly. Like, there's very few of you guys now that I don't at least recognise the name of from the years we've spent together having chats and good times and bad times, you know? People often say to me, why don't I take down the videos when I break down and cry or something like that? Like last night, I didn't see that coming, but people say take it down, it's embarrassing. Why? Fuck that. No. It's me. It's real. And there's a video that's on our channel called Thank You and Goodbye. That I was at a really low point in my life. And I made it and I said goodbye to everyone. Not in but just from a context perspective. I had no thoughts of self-harm or anything like that. It was a goodbye and thank you. And it's still up there. And I could have taken it down, but it's important for me that my kids and your friends and you and your family know that there are ups and downs in life. And know that it's not all Instagram pictures and beautiful plates of food and lovely holidays. It's a grind. Life's a pain in the ass. But you don't give up. You do not give up. And if I had have given up, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to say this tonight. I wouldn't be able to do these live shows. I wouldn't have met the people I've met. So you didn't let me give up. You didn't mock me. And that's given me strength and courage that I didn't know I had. So yay to you all. And thank you for that. And I'm not afraid to show my vulnerability because I was for a long time. I thought I had to be a hard man. I grew up in a very manly family with strong, hardy men who worked doors in nightclubs and did martial arts and hid their feelings and suppressed them. But I always felt like that wasn't me. So I like to talk about my feelings because they're important. It's important that we know we can vent and we can share things, and we will be judged by some, but not everyone. And that's what makes this community so special to me, is somebody can come in here tonight and say something's gone wrong in their life, and they won't be laughed at, or they'll be shown kindness and love by you. And that's the thing that keeps coming back whenever anybody from a professional side meets our community. Do you know what, actually? The Cardiff venue for the live show said to us that the people who were there and the way that they coped and interacted with the staff, they said everybody was friendly, everybody was thoughtful, and nobody was an asshole. And it didn't surprise me one bit, because I know you, and that's how you are, and that's what makes you guys special. So we are building something tremendous on this channel, but I'm not doing it through anything clever. You're doing it through your support of each other and the club. So I love you all so much for that, because it shows that there are good people out there in a time where it's tough to find it. When you go online and you're bombarded with negativity, shit's happening, cost of living's going up. It's good to have a release. It's good to have a place where you can come and share and be yourself. And that's why this community is different. That's why I'm not on Twitter or anything, because I can't cope with it. So thanks for all of that. And on that note, I'm going to say goodnight, because it's a quiet one. My voice is strained, and I will see you all tomorrow. Do please check out the episode with Simon, Liverpool fan in Japan. It was absolutely amazing. Really loved talking with him. I found it fascinating to hear his thoughts on the club. Give it a watch. Subscribe to his channel. Check out the podcast as well. I'm recording with Jack Gill tomorrow, so that episode should be out on Wednesday. And I will be back same time, same place tomorrow. Appreciate you as always. I'll do a summary video now in a few minutes for those of you who missed the stream, so you don't have to go back through 2 hours of content. And I'll catch up with you all tomorrow. Thanks for everything.